Good evening, fellow Plexers. I'm going to show you how to get Zima OS installed, and then the next video will be showing you how to install Plex Server on it for a nice little simple headless server that can use USB portable media drives or point to a consumer NAS or a self-spun up NAS like TrueNAS or Unraid or Proxmox, if you're running it on hardware that doesn't have an Intel processor capable of hardware accelerated transcoding off the Intel iGPU. So first off, you go to zimaspace.com and take a look around. You'll see that Zima OS for this purpose is free. You can have up to 4 disks, and in this install we're only going to have 1. We're not going to use it for storage. We're just going to have Zima installed on a small SSD to then use Zima to point to media on a NAS or USB media. Lifetime license is pretty cheap, so if you do like it, feel free to support it with a lifetime license, even if you don't need more than 4 disks. Okay, so there's a how to install Zima OS, and I'll put these 3 URLs in the description of this video. So you'll need a Zima device or a generic x86-64 PC with at least 25 gigabytes of storage. You don't need a large SSD to install this to, especially if your Plex media is not going to be on this device. And any old flash drive will do. Now normally I like to install my Linux ISOs or even a Windows ISO with Ventoy. It's a great utility. You format the flash drive with it and you copy ISOs to it. But Zima OS might not work on a Ventoy flash drive, so make a separate one. So the BIOS needs to have UEFI boot mode enabled and secure boot disabled. Very much like booting into Ubuntu or Fedora or something like that. So you basically just download the latest image. So if we go back over here and download someplace, oh, right here. Download that, and then you go to Balena Etcher or etcher.balena.io and you download the version for your system. If you're running Windows, grab the Windows installer, Mac, and Linux. There's also the app image for Linux, which might be the easiest to use. You find the app image. Once you download it, you right click on it, you choose properties, you make it executable, and then you double click on it. You're really only going to make this one flash drive with it. So you get your flash drive all set, and then you may have to enter the CMOS of your system. You want to make sure you're booting off the flash drive, so put the flash drive in, reboot, go into the CMOS, make sure you can boot off the flash drive, and take care of turning off secure boot and enabling the UEFI boot mode. But I've installed Zima on older equipment. I don't think you're going to have a problem. So that's what you do, and the next part of this video will show me recording the installation with my phone and a tripod. Be right back. Good evening, fellow Plexers. On top of my Ugreen NAS on my Plex workbench is that signage computer. It has a USB drive plugged into it, and right now I've entered the BIOS. So I want to show you the steps I would use to install a clean OS on it, and we're going to use Zima OS. So let me reboot it. There is no boot key for this device, only delete to get into the center or into the CMOS. And it's entering the CMOS now. I have my Ventoy flash drive plugged into the back of it. So we'll go into the boot section, and you see the team group SATA or SATA.m SATA M.2 drive is set to boot. I'm going to change that to my Corsair Voyager flash drive. I'll exit, say yes. And I have a bunch of different ISOs on this flash drive. So I'll drop down to Ubuntu 24.04, the current long-term release, and I'll live boot into Linux. And unfortunately, I can't pause my phone like I can OBS on my desktop computer. Ubuntu boots fairly quickly off a flash drive. So I like to wipe any partition on a hard drive before I install a new OS. A Ventoy flash drive can be used for a Windows install, any flavor of Linux, but it can't be used for Zima OS that we'll be using. I don't have to wait for this to finish. I can go up here to the top left corner and type, DI for disks. Let me just kill the welcome to Ubuntu. And I see my team group SATA M.2 drive at the top. I'm going to click on the last partition and hit the minus sign. Keep authenticating. Now I'll go to the second to last one because the last one is free space. And I'll get rid of everything. I've learned sometimes if you're installing a new Linux distro, the installer might fail if you haven't removed the previous one. Lots of times it knows that it's there and it'll give you a choice of a dual boot or a fresh boot. So that's it. That's all set. Now I'm going to shut Ubuntu down, and you can't quite see the whole screen. Upper right, power mode, and I'm sorry, this icon here, and power off. I don't have my glasses on my head. I don't need them for reading, but I'm starting to need them for short range distance. So I'm just going to hit enter. It tells me to remove the boot media. And now I'm going to pull that drive out and put it in a little SanDisk flash drive formatted with Balena Etcher for Zima OS. Now that it's in, I'll restart the PC. And I may not have to go back into the BIOS. It may just boot off this flash drive. Zima OS is a very simple install. Booting Zima OS installer. Number one is install Zima OS. I'll just hit enter. That is the drive I want to use. It's the only drive in the system. I'll confirm yes and confirm yes a second time. And it's a fairly fast install also. Perfect for a headless Plex server install with USB media, or as I'll show, to connect to a NAS. When I switch to the PC, I will be using my latest Synology NAS, a DS1825, with a test Plex Media Server shared folder on the Rusty array. That and the same portable drive that's sitting on top of the unit. It's a 1 terabyte Seagate, and I'll also show you how to label a portable drive so that you can set your Docker containers up almost exactly the same, so you'll always know which drive is referenced in the Docker container. And this is a used 32-inch LG monitor that I picked up off from Craigslist about 6 months ago for $100. It has 3 inputs on it, easy switching, 2 HDMI ports, and 1 display port. I picked up a Z-Edge monitor that the 2 HP Pro Desk are connected to, and that has 2 HDMI and 2 display ports also. Okay, so I can remove the media and press OK for a reboot. I should not need to go back in the BIOS, but we'll do that if we have to. Actually, let's just go back into the BIOS. Let's go over to boot, and you see my first option is the team group NVMe. I'm going to go over to save and exit. The save configuration is yes. And now we will reboot into the command prompt. There is no GUI on this. It will boot without a monitor, mouse, or keyboard connected. You see some of my unfinished basement. Let's see if I can zoom in. All you have to do is make note of the IP address of this machine, 192.168.68.54 in my case, and then you can access it through any web browser on your local network. All right, part 2 will be from my desktop.